Oh, welcome to HappyCast. This is Stephanie Stoneberger coming in live by myself because Andrew was just spent the weekend crewing a Last Man Standing with Nick Pedersen. Hopefully we have him on and a couple of other strong people that were out there. Stephanie, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Rosenbach. She got second, um, and they ended up going into like I want to say hour 60,
Wow.
yard 68. So it was he's been up all weekend, so we are recording this without him. And then of course Dylan is all the behind the scenes. He's at home right now as well. Okay, so we're doing Fall Creek 100 recap in Tennessee. We have Chuck Clark, who was with me for a long time, and we have lots of stories that are going to be quite comical. And then we have
Yep.
Scott
You got it.
Simcox. Did I say that right? Okay, and he is the RD. So tell us what because you
Yeah.
said you have 200s that you do as
Yeah.
well, right?
So our season starts out in the spring. The second weekend of April is Rim Runner, and that was the first race we ever came up with. And then Long Hunter is a 50K in October, and then Fall Creek 100 is uh the last weekend before Thanksgiving every year. And they all have smaller distances involved with them too, but those are the
So,
big ones.
right. So what
Are you
I
No,
all
they're
love,
there
different
at the
ones. So like
park?
Rim Runner is in a state forest, actually, kind of over by Chattanooga. And Long Hunter's in Long Hunter State Park, and then Fall Creek's in Fall Creek Fall State Park.
Okay.
and so I love because I'm doing races all over the place. I love like the hometown. So like at the aid stations, it was either your parents
Yep,
or your fiance's
yep, you
parents,
got it.
and I want to say her name is Emily. Okay, so I didn't reference that. I was like, am I pulling that out of nowhere? And so
Yeah,
like, and they were there the whole time, and they were like amazing. Like the whole time, they never got to a point. Like even though there's no way that they were busy the whole time, but every time I came in, they were so cheerful and welcoming. And it was Emily's mom that. She was so nice. The second time I saw her, I was like, "Can I have a hug?" And she was like, so she said she had told Emily that. Um, but they were, I want to say they are supportive for the whole weekend. How did you get them signed up
I
into
think
doing all this?
like my enthusiasm for it like wore off a little bit. It took like Emily's parents maybe a little bit more than my parents. Because my parents have actually been like really supportive always. So they live in Oklahoma City actually. I made that drive back and forth to Oklahoma City like dozens of
Oh,
times.
wow.
Not quite down to you guys, but like not that different really. So them coming up here isn't like a big stretch. They make the drive up here like twice a year anyway. So when we started doing this, getting my parents involved wasn't that hard. And then getting Emily's parents involved, and like Emily, like no one in her family is a runner at all. So this is like all a very new experience for them. It's a new community for them. It's got all that typical like I can't believe people are doing this. This is so crazy, blah blah blah. And then they get involved in it and they love it. And I tell this to everybody, and it probably comes across like I'm just trying to get volunteers. But volunteering at races, like specifically like the loop format races that we do, like when you get to see the runners like two times, three times, four times, it's a lot of fun. They get really invested in the runners themselves. So once like Emily's parents got involved, like they started thinking, oh, we should start cooking this kind of food and make it even better. And oh, I they have all these stories about the people like you that they've seen multiple times from like all these past years, and they love it. Once they got going, it wasn't hard at all to like keep bringing them back. It's a lot of fun.
And then your parents, I think when I chatted with them one time, they were saying how they've always supported you when you
A
ran
little bit. They
hundreds,
came out when I did like Kansas Rail Trail.
or
Yeah,
they've
they've been out
seen
to
it
Kansas Rail
before.
Trail and they went out to Arkansas Traveler. But a lot of my other races have been like around the country, so they haven't seen a whole lot else besides those two. But those were both drivable for them.
And Arkansas Traveler has a huge community like
Hmm.
race. I've never been out there for
Yeah, I
that
think I
one,
had
It's a
but
like
huge
it's known
200
race.
for
finishers my year, maybe 180, something like
like
that.
race community support,
Yeah.
but lots of community support. So part of the whole challenge with this one was the rain. And so we were looking at the weather. I know Chuck sent me the weather like 2 weeks ahead, and I was like, dude, I'm not fucking looking at whatever you're sending me is like,
No.
I'm not looking, it's too early. And then when it got closer, and that week, the week of, like, I have screenshots of how it was supposed to rain every
Yep.
single day through Monday. Um, and then I was just like, maybe I can open a different weather app and get better predictions and then
Different
just
radar.
stick with that. Because so there's a muddy race in Oklahoma that I have DNF'd twice. And Chuck finished it. But so in like going into this race, I had some like mental issues. And I'm going to talk about this because it's like it's never been as bad as it was this time. So I had recently been around some people that jokingly made some comments about my DNFs and went through everything I DNF'd. Um, and my brain just sorted all the DNFs, and they're like, oh, they're all
Mhm.
ones that you've driven to, and some of those were muddy. So I went into this one and like I had a coworker asking like, and I was like, I'm stressed, more stressed about this one because I'm driving. It's the weirdest thing. Like I just was like, I'm driving and the weather is going to be bad. And so I just felt like I was not going to finish, or not that I wasn't going to finish, but that it was not going to be good. And then other comments were made. And then when I was out there, I was with Chuck, and Chuck and I have ran a whole
Nice.
100 miler together in Oklahoma, like every step.
This is the second one together.
Right. And
And yeah.
so, but my headspace has never been bad from the beginning. And it was just, it was absolutely like I was feeling like I was not enough, which is like insane to think that I'm not a trail runner. Like, and I kept telling myself, you are a trail runner. And then, um, so I had a breakdown at mile 30. Like I didn't even get to that first water stop, and I called my mom crying. The unmanned water stop right before the end of the first loop, and I called my mom crying. And it wasn't so. Chuck, what do you think about the course? I would say it was harder than what we were expecting. We thought it would be easier, but it wasn't bad. Like when I went back out for more loops, it wasn't as bad as
Yeah, I think that caught us off guard is that mud in the very beginning and the off camber a lot, and then the humidity right off the bat. I mean, that's what we were saying because yeah, the course didn't. And I went back and reread a lot of the descriptions this morning because I was kind of thinking about this, and it wasn't anything difficult that I haven't been before. I think I know myself. I just didn't respect the distance, and I just kind of laid on my laurels a little bit, and just was like, I can just kind of cruise through this. And it's definitely not a course you can do that. But going out of that first loop, it was just like, I mean, I
okay.
don't
And
know.
when we
It
talk
almost like
about
was like
the mud was not that bad. It was
it was
like
just
the
that bad on
first
the first
section.
morning.
And
Just that first morning though, that was it.
the whole time,
After that, we're fine.
Chuck goes, hey, it's just his first section. The RD said, it's just his first section. And I was like, I hope that motherfucker's not lying. Like, I hope there's not
Yeah.
mud anywhere else on the course. And there wasn't. Like, that was what was so crazy is if we had the level of rain that y'all had here in Texas, like
Right.
all the trails closed in Texas. Like we shut
Oh,
down
they're still
trails.
closed. Yeah.
Like you can't even
Horseshoe
run
last
on
night
them to
was
protect them because they don't want them to get like damaged and stuff. And so we didn't know going in what the mud would be, but I've had some pretty epic finishes recently, some pretty hard efforts recently. And going down, Chuck's like, "Are you running or racing this?" Now, I want y'all to know that Chuck and I decided to drive down Thursday after work and just stay up all night and drive the 13 hours. So,
with Peg.
okay,
Peg
so
too.
what happened was the weather was bad enough that the flights got canceled in DFW. And after two flights got canceled on Peg, she said, "Hey, have y'all left yet?" And we're like, no, Stephanie still hasn't gotten up to Aubrey. And then she decided to go with us, which was amazing because now we're not splitting the drive between two
Yeah.
people. We're splitting the drive between three people. And I thought the drive would be uncomfortable in the back because we shoved everything in there. And but it wasn't bad because it's more
Yeah.
room than a plane. I just kept saying, man, like I can stretch
Yeah.
out my legs compared to like if I was flying. And so, and we stopped a bunch of times and we had so much fun. Peg and all her rules, and she has a hybrid car, so our gas was cheaper. Like we got, it was just like we won the lottery when those flights got canceled. And she said, because we're like,
Right.
we're not going to pay for a hotel, um, we're going to drive straight through. And that's the other thing. So, Fall Creek's Fall Creek has that $10 for
Yeah.
two dorm nights in the dorm.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was priceless because now we're not paying for like, and we have showers. I've never gotten ready and then just like walked right to the race start,
Yeah.
like within 10 seconds.
Yeah, that was
So,
a really, really nice benefit. They had that at Outlaw. I never took advantage of it. But yeah, I remember. I think your mom was telling us that that's the first. This was the
Last year was the
first
first year
year,
we had that
or last year was the
lodge.
first year.
We had it. So, at like mile 5, when you come down, there's like that 2 mile double wide section, and you turn left onto the road, and you went past this enormous pavilion.
mhm.
Hmm.
That enormous pavilion was our start finish.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, and we came over to the lodge,
Okay.
and like just the opportunity to have a full commercial kitchen, um, beds, showers, electricity, warmth, like all of that, and it's only like a half mile down the road. Like it was kind of a no-brainer. Like even the cost, like it doesn't matter. Like it's totally worth it.
Well,
Yeah.
and I was
Stephanie and I
surprised
were.
more people didn't take up the dorms because it was such a, I mean, we had logistically, we had to bring our own bedding, which took up more room in the car. But then it's like you can get, we, well, majority of the
That's funny.
people in the dorm were from Texas. Like we had like whole, like half of the thing. And I wanted to be around everybody. So I picked a top bunk so I could like stay with our group because there was six girls, six women in there, and then I was seven. And then in the middle of the night, I woke up to go to the bathroom, and all my bedding fell off because I
That's
didn't
fine.
bring bedding. I brought a sleeping bag, and so my sleeping bag fell, and I was like, "Well, fuck this! I'm just gonna go sleep on a different bottom bunk because there's plenty of room." So I grabbed everything, and then Michelle Baker, who was underneath me, when she woke up the next morning, she couldn't find her shoe because I had taken it with all my bedding. And so she's like, "Where's Stephanie?" And when she went and found me, her shoe was like right next to the
I'm just
bunk
trying to
I had picked.
sabotage her.
Uh, but it was so fun because, right? And
And she
then
was our
from
pacer too. She ended up
she was like,
pacing
we
us, so
needed
I wasn't
her.
even.
But then we could talk about like, hey, are you bringing a jacket? It's 60 degrees. Like, we don't need a jacket for 60. Are you bringing a headlamp because it's going to be 10 hours till sunset? So it's like we had all these conversations that was actually valuable because then later Peg didn't have a headlamp and I was like, "Oh, she didn't stay in the dorm with us." Because I was like, all the ladies, we had had this conversation that morning of like, how many snacks are you packing? And so it was nice to like have people there like to start the race um like the morning of. That's the fun part of traveling. So I went into this with just the wrong mindset. I was crying at mile 30. I called my mom.
Before that,
Oh, I was crying before that. The
yeah.
humidity. I started with cotton mouth though. Like I was dehydrated to start, but I was drinking. I drank so well. I ate so well. Like I did all the tasks I needed to do. And since these are so mental and I had such a mental low for the whole race, like I purely finished this on physical. It had nothing to do with my mindset. I never, Michelle was like, I've never seen someone so deep in their feelings and work their way out. And I was like, I never worked my way out. Like I stayed in that low. And so the humidity, I feel like that was part of it. And then Chuck just made it look so easy. And like I ran the entire thing. Okay. And Chuck would turn around and I was moving. Now, there was one time he caught me on my
On the
phone
phone.
and he was
Couple
like, "You
times I
don't
just.
get to text, you're too slow." He's like, "Who do you need to text?" I was like, "We were gonna update Ben." He's like, "I will text Ben." So he could like text and like walk to catch up to me. Like so when I was crying with my mom, and then I caught up to Chuck, and Chuck goes, "You stack these because you think you can. You stack these because you know you can finish." And I was like, "Oh my God, like that's true." And it was
Well,
like,
that's some context is okay. So you're doing 50 races in all 50s. You're doing a race in all states, right? It's kind of that context. So this is Stephanie's second year. This is her ninth race of this year. Last year she did 800s. This is her ninth 100. We also have another 100 together here in a couple weeks. And that's her 10th. So she's doing 10 hundreds a year, which is, I mean, to me, it's insane. So that's what I've been saying. When you stack these, you wouldn't
I'm
be
not doing them
stacking
to
them
DNF.
because
I'm stacking
right.
them because I think I have a legit chance. But
Right. You're picking smart races too, which you know you can that you pick these races for now. You're not going to pick Uray and then turn around and pick another 100 a month later. You know,
right.
you're picking these races for an effort because you know you can do these 10 and everything else, and that's why I'm saying. We've all heard Stephanie here in our local area is all about her races and all about her finishes, and she always comes back with a new story, a new finish, and it's great watching her succeed in doing all these and she's still stacking them on top of each other within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, or whatever apart. So we're all like in awe of her. And I mean, I think even one time I've asked her, Stephanie, are you being careful about this or whatever? Because it's a lot of damage to you. I mean, just 10 100s in a year. I mean, I'm typical to do 4 or 5, and I think that's a lot for me still. So
Well,
you
see, and
know,
that was the thing. That's why I was like, this was the one that I don't race. This is the one that I just finish. And so Chuck was like, let's do 26 to 27 hours. So I'm like, okay, I didn't have a pace chart. I didn't have a plan. So I was like, 8 hours for the first one, 9 for the
Yeah.
second, 10 for the third loop. Well, that first loop was like 8:15. And I was like, fuck, I need a little break. I need a little minute before we go back out. And so I knew at that point the 27 hours was out the window, and it was just like not stopping. And so, and then before the race, I had read the story of, which I've read before, but I just reminded myself of the Tale of Two Wolves. And it's about a grandfather telling his grandson, it's like a Native American story, um, that we all have two wolves that live inside us. And one is like the good wolf, and one is the bad wolf. And the son's like, well, how do you know which one, you listen to? And he said, the one you feed. So the whole time, I know my bad attitude is like feeding this negative wolf, and this like self-doubt wolf, and I'm like, feed the confident wolf, but I couldn't. And like talking to my mom, this is the most hilarious story. So I call my mom, and she's like, what about that thing you have? And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, that thing. And I said, I have no clue what thing you're talking about. And she goes, that big dick energy. And I was like, oh my God. She didn't want to say it, but I had no clue that that's what she was talking about. And I was like, I don't have it right
man,
now. Okay. Like, it doesn't exist. And then she's like, well, what are you going to do to get out of your head? And I was like, I'm trying. And then I was like, I'm not trying. Like, legit, I'm not trying. I don't, like, it was like I was just consumed. And so so I had 3 moments of like nuggets of support because I phoned so many friends. So Chuck saying, asking, telling me that I stack them because I know I can. And I was like, okay, that's true. And then um I don't even know what point we were on, maybe like 40 or 50 miles in. We weren't very far in, and Ben asked how we were doing, and I got my phone out real quick and I said, "Not good," before I got in trouble. And then he called me, and I had my AirPod in, and he started listing off all the races I had finished that I drove to. So Ben is real detail oriented, and he tracks all the people. He knows everyone's name and everyone's race. So of all my friends, like even my best friends Jenny and Gretchen, they would not be able to list the races that I drove to. But Ben was able to, and I was like, "Oh my God, I have finished races I drove to. Like this is just in your head. Like you have just consumed it." So once again, he's feeding the good wolf. And so I was I thought we had pushed too hard in the beginning, but after that second loop, so we were going to be back in by midnight. That was what we thought we would do. Um, and then we knew that was going out the window. We got in, and I think at that point Michelle hopped in with 8 miles to go of that second loop, and then and that was where I fell apart on the first loop. So I thought it was so hard, but seeing that loop
Hmm.
in the loop around the lake, That is not technical at all. I mean, there's like a couple steps that have rocks, but then after that, because that's the loop that Chuck ran in and you were able to like go crazy fast. But so we wanted Michelle to pick us up there because I knew that's where I had the breakdown. And then Michelle told Chuck, run ahead, take care of whatever you need to finish that second loop. Um, so I'm much slower than Chuck. My only benefit is I'm quicker at aid stations than he is. That's my only advantage. So he went and started at the aid station, like went back to start finish and was like doing everything. Well, when I came in, Kevin Halliburton is gonna pick us up, and it's 1:32. So I said midnight, and then I was like, okay, we're gonna shoot for 1:30. So I know I'm
Hmm.
like I wanted to be out by 1:30, so I'm like, okay, I need to be getting ready. And he's like 18 minutes, and I was like, no, 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 I don't want to spend 18 minutes here. Like I wanted to be gone 2 minutes ago. And then he goes, no, you have 18 minutes. And I was like, why are you giving me this number? Like 150. And he's like, that's the cutoff. I was like, wait, what? Like, because I had already had a broke.
Because we like halfway
We
through the
didn't look
second
at
loop,
it.
she started to do. She's a
Runner
math
math is
teacher, by the
different
way. She
though.
started to do math
Yeah.
and trail math. Exactly, trail
But
math. And that's the thing.
I
She
had looked
she
at
kept
my
yelling,
watch and it
"We're
said
gonna get
11.
this
It said
cutoffs," and I'm like,
12, and I thought it said 11 or
"We're
something
just
like
yeah."
that.
She's yelling at me for cutoffs, and I'm looking at it. We literally have like 20 hours left trying to get to the loop to do 2 loops. I'm like, there's no way that we're gonna finish this or do this loop. And there's no way we're gonna be near cutoffs or anything else. So I just ran ahead because I'm slower at aid stations at the last loops. I just way slower than her. I had to change my socks and stuff. And
And we
when I
could
came
because there
in,
was dorms. So this is the thing. You
right,
could go into a bathroom, you could keep stuff in the dorms, you could change clothes, and like
Yeah.
that was so convenient.
it was epic. It was definitely not better than going to a tent, my truck, or anything else. Actually, it was I could have things laid out when I wanted to. But anyway, so I went to that. Kevin, when I came in, Kevin's like, "Okay, we gotta hurry up. We have cutoffs at 1:51," and I'm like, "What?" And because at this, I came in probably 10 minutes before Stephanie did. So I was able to go upstairs, go to the bathroom, change socks, do stuff, and come down. And Stephanie started in the middle of changing socks. And then they're like, "We have 15 minutes to get out of the aid station." I'm like,
I was like,
"What?
no way.
Why do we have why?" Yeah, because we both now I'm like we were chasing cutoffs, and there's no way. Just the math didn't work. So that's what we were trying to figure out. And, I mean, we really weren't chasing cutoffs. We were still an hour ahead on most of the time, except for
So
well,
that was the thing. I was so like, we pushed too hard, we pushed too hard, but we didn't. We pushed the right amount. Like, that's where it's like Chuck did exactly what we needed to do. He got us moving. And had we not done what we did that first loop, we would have. So I went and looked at Kevin's
Hmm.
Strava to see what time we left because he started at 1:44 a.m. And I left before Chuck. So Chuck may have had 10 minutes at that aid station,
Yeah.
but he was still behind me coming out. And then after that, though, we weren't worried. Like after that first cutoff, once you get your feet on the ground, on the trail for that third loop, the next cutoff we had made up like 24 minutes. And then the next one we'd made up like 40 minutes. And then
yeah. I
I
mean,
ended up
remember that we were
finishing.
running down the street off the trail. I was trying to catch up to her, and it had that one guy coming up. He had 2 minutes left, and he was just at the road section when you
Hmm.
step off the trail to come back in.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was
I
just
remember
hauling
that.
ass, sprinting up that road to make cutoff for 2 minutes. We're like, "Go, buddy, please go,
Yeah.
go,
He made it. He
get it."
And
made
we
it.
saw him
And
back out
then
there. He
I,
Yeah. He finished
finished.
like third from
yeah,
last.
he
He
did.
wasn't
He
even
went
last.
back.
He was like third from
So did
last.
he? Right. So did he change? Did he get a chance to just basically touch his toe across and have to go
Yeah.
back out, or did
So
he
when
get a
he
chance to
came
fill
in, we had
water or
two
anything?
people that
Or
were right at the cutoff with him. So like all the energy in that space was already like get him in, get him out. His crew already knew ahead of time, get him in, get him out. So as soon as he showed up, and you're right, he was running in, like running, and it's like a downhill, like it's like
yeah,
the paved driveway back into the lodge. So he was moving, probably the fastest he's moved in quite a while to get into that aid station. His crew had his stuff, they got him his stuff. It was like 30 seconds max, and he was gone again.
yeah. Wow. No, because I saw him. We were yo-yoing for a while there, and he was with a couple other guys, and then he just dropped in, but he was moving pretty well most of the time. So I don't
Well,
know
he
how
had good
how he
energy. He
got.
was always really cheerful and positive the whole
Yep.
day.
That's what I'm saying. I just don't know how he got behind us. It's like, how did he get that far behind us for cutoffs? Because he was moving pretty well, and that's what I guess what I was surprised about is it wasn't a really tough
Yeah.
cutoff, but it snuck up on us really quick. I
because
think it
nobody
caught a lot
looked
of
at
us.
It
it.
doesn't feel like a
Nobody
hard
was like,
course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
I
I remember
never
growing
once
up,
looked at
No,
cutoffs.
no one got cut off. No one got cut off at
and
the
that's weird.
first
That's
one
just
at the tournament.
okay. Okay, yeah, it was just wild for me to like. Never had to happen to me where because I didn't even bother looking at the cutoffs. I was like, we're definitely get a finishing time for
If
this and
he was
everything.
looking
But
at cutoffs, he would have left me sooner. You know
oh
what I mean?
yeah,
Because he could have.
well that's the thing is I'm glad Kevin said something because I probably would have it would have been
You
a
would have
long.
stayed
I was
longer than one
probably would have
minute.
taken a shower, a little nap. But no, it was yeah that was that first one was like wow okay now we gotta go and but I'm looking at the finish from the finish chart. Was a lot of people
No, it was
chasing it,
only a
or it just seemed
few,
like it was
and
like
it's
more?
just that
Because
first one. So you
I
can
mean,
basically like once
yeah,
you're out and you're on that third loop, it's set in a way where you can if someone's having
yeah,
like a really bad day, the cutoff is such that you should be able to like mostly like hike it in and still make it the rest of the way. Like as long as you can get to that third loop and start, you should be good to go. Like you could do like 20s the rest of the way, and it should average out to be about right.
yeah, and that's a pretty good course to do that too. I mean, I think it's like we said that we were talking about. I mean, I try to figure out how it was so hard for me. I mean, a lot of it
Because
was
you stayed
resting the
with me for
lowers.
so long, legit. Like I do think
Yeah,
that's
well, that
it.
was too. I mean, I was faster. I was hiking the whole time, and Stephanie was still, you know,
Okay, so let's
behind
talk
me.
about our split. Like what happened. Okay. So Kevin stayed with us for 15 and a half miles, stayed with us till Nature Center. So he did a 50K, ran it hard, did it very well, and then went and did 15 and a half miles in the middle of the night with no rest because it was
Right.
1:30. So it's not like he actually got some sleep. I think he tried to rest his eyes, but he didn't. And then did 15 and a half miles. And I loved it because I got to hear about his 200 miler he did recently. So I'm like picking his brain, hearing all the stories.
Well, it also kept you off your brain too.
Right.
You were doing really, really well with that because it kept you off. With Michelle, you didn't talk that much. You kind of just kept to yourself. But with
Well, yeah, I was
Kevin,
finishing my
you were,
audiobook.
yeah,
They
I
kept
know.
stopping for me, and I was like, I need y'all to be talking further enough away that I can listen to this book and finish it because it got really good. So I have no regrets there. And then when she told you to go ahead and she waited for me, I had just finished my audiobook. And so I chatted with her the whole time. Like I just needed to get through. Like I was so mentally thinking that section was so hard, and it wasn't. That was not the hard section at all. Um, so
It just
what
it
happened?
had some hills though. You were at the end. It had hills. I think that's what was getting you before
I don't think
when we
it
turned off
did.
the lake. I don't know when because you can't. You were having trouble with hills. When we turned off the lake, there's a couple climbs through the mountains up to back to the road.
Well, let me just tell you, when I was by myself, I didn't feel like it was that bad. I wasn't moving very fast. Okay, so what happened was we drop Kevin, and then we have like 2.5 miles of trail, and then it kind of opens up to like really wide trail for
Yeah,
like
down to
three
Piney.
So
miles, and it's all
Piney,
downhill.
we're
Okay.
going to Piney. Going to Piney. So we just leave Piney, and we got what 2 miles, 2.5 till we get to that long
No, we just
straightaway
leave the
road or something
nature
like that.
center, and we have 2.5 miles.
It's Piney.
No, you're right,
No,
Piney, because
it was
we
Piney
did
because
the
we had the
road
full because
section.
nature center. Yeah, you get those four
Okay,
miles later
so
on.
that was the other thing. There was like, even though it was 33-mile loops, in my head, I broke it up. 6 miles, you got a little bit of mud, but you're fresh, and then you have 6 miles with an out and back that's like flat that you can make up some time on, and then you have 3.5 miles till the halfway, not exactly halfway,
Mm.
but halfway-ish point nature center, and then you have 4.5 miles, which like three or
Road.
four of it is road. I mean, they're climbs. They're not flat road, but so then it's like
Yeah,
okay, so
they look
every
a
point,
little bit different in the daylight. It's kind
like
of. I remember when the
every
next morning we did it, I was like, God, that's a big hill.
but so it's like every point, the course was
Hmm.
so vastly different that it's like even though we only did it 3 times, it's like we had all these points. Like this is what we're gonna do. This is when we're gonna. So then you'd have 4.5 toll road, and then that next section is I think 5.5, and 2.5 is like actual trail that's gonna be a little tricky, and then it opens up and it's all downhill. And so when we got out of that 2.5 mile section, Chuck turns to me and he goes, "That just took us an hour." And I was like, I know. He goes, for 2 miles. I said, no, it's 2.5 miles. And he's like, fuck you. He didn't say it. He said it with his eyes. He gave me a look like, I don't fucking care. And he just started running. But I had told him so many times that he could take off that he told me to quit telling him. So it's kind of like we knew that there's a moment if we split up, no one's getting offended. I'm not going to tell you to split up because you already know that you can. And so when he started taking off, like I never saw him again. And but I knew my plan because I knew about the cutoffs. I was like, I can do 20-minute miles all the
Yep.
way in and still finish this. So, um, I mean, I was like shuffling and this guy was hiking, not even fast like Chuck, and passed me. And I was like, I don't think I care. And so I get to the last aid station. Okay, wait. I am a mile out from the aid station. And Chuck texts me and says, I'm at the water stop. I'm going for it. And I'm like, he made up 1 mile to my 2 miles. Like he went 3 miles to my two. And so I knew, I'm like, so then I'm doing his trail math and I'm like, he can do 29 if he keeps pushing 29 hours. Like he can do sub 29. And he did. He got in sub 29. And so then I'm like, okay, what's my math? My math is I'm going to go
Oh, okay.
30-30 because that was when Michelle Baker had to leave for her flight. And I was like, that sounds like a good number. I can do 20-minute miles all the way in. And so after I got to that last aid station, I mean, I was crying. I got to the lake and it was so hot. Um, and I thought I was all cried out because I didn't have anything left. But I started pushing because I heard some people behind me and I didn't see them. Like I never saw them. Like people, that's where I like kind of passed some people. And so that's when I had so this has never happened in a race before. I had a panic attack. Um, that's when I like it's like raise your hand if Stephanie called you at Fall Creek 100. Like I talked to so many people on the phone because at this point Chuck doesn't know if I'm killing time or not. Like he's doing his own thing. Like I can just finish this. And so I called everybody. And that was the other thing is while I'm thinking about this race, I'm also thinking about Syllabo, which is the next race I'm doing that I'm scared because I've DNF'd it before. And it's going to be hard. Am I going to DNF that? I'm going to drive there. And so I called Augustine and I was like, I had a panic attack. And I've had a panic attack running before, not while I race, but running before when I was going through a divorce and like talking about some stuff that I was going through. And when I was with that friend, I said, I need to stop. I can't talk about this. We've just got to run. Like I can't deal with it. So it was, I mean, like I was like, like couldn't breathe. And Augustine said, who are you? He said, who are you doing this for? Like all the comments that were in my head saying like I'm not a trail runner, doesn't matter that I've done trails, like um all these things that I was saying, he's like, who are you doing this for? And I'm like, for me. I did not do this. I'm not doing these 100 milers so people think I'm fast. Like that was never it. I'm not doing these 100 milers to belong. I love the trail running community, but I'm not here to belong. I'm here to like get through my own mental health, like my own personal challenges. Are there times that I am fast and competitive? Yes, but only because I'm trying to like do something for myself. I am not competing to prove it to anybody. And when he said that, I was like, oh my God. Like, if anything, I'm trying to do these slow to show that any human can do this. Like, you don't have to be fast to do it. And so that's what I mean, like that, like hit that was feeding the good wolf, but it was also like, I am not here for anybody but me. Like, and so I feel like after that, the race kind of went nicer. I thought I was all cried out until I hit the road, the last half-mile section, and I just like bawled like a baby. I mean, I was like, how can you still be ugly crying? Like you've cried the whole day. So, and I don't care what people say. I can run a 22-minute mile, like, and still be running. Chuck, what do you think? If you turned around, didn't I look like I was running?
No, every time I turned around, you were, except for a hill, every time I turned around, you were shuffling along. You were moving along and everything else. There's very little
But my
walking on your part.
it's just not very fast. And I have no
No.
shame because I finished that. I finished that on like
But
I
again,
felt
it's
like
it's also you've come off of 2 back-to-back, 3, 4. This is your
right.
ninth race this year. So I mean, even just to do that, I think is pretty amazing. I think most of us, in at least the community agree with that too. That's why you know we do what we do, kind of.
Okay, so Chuck left me for 11 miles and he made up 90 minutes on me. So that's like 8 or 9 minute miles
Most of them in
faster than I was doing. But I was running. Like I felt like the trail was so much easier. That third loop, that one section. I mean, it was hot. And so and there was a couple of females that were
Uh-huh.
racing that I wanted to message to check on, and I was like, I can't because I don't want to put any negative energy on their race. Like Lisa was out there running, and I was thinking about her the whole time. And then I'm like, I can't call Lisa and complain because she's doing the same fucking thing we're doing. And so, yeah, it was just a headspace. But that's the other thing. It may have been big loops, but there was aid stations every 6 miles. There was water stops. Like you were never
Yeah.
9 miles without access to
Yeah,
water.
even with like the two water drops that we do have, like they aren't truly necessary, but I know they build like confidence and security for some people, so that's why we have them there. Like you could easily carry to the next aid station if you really wanted to, but I feel like it, especially because like at the 50K distance, like you do get a lot of like newer trail runners that I think it makes them just feel safer that they may not run out of water.
Right. Or they carry
Yeah,
less.
you could do it with bottles too if you wanted to. I mean, if it wasn't for the weather going into that, I was thinking I was going to use the handhelds, but then the rains came and I was like, well, I don't want to be stuck out there in the middle of nothing, so I carried my pack. But yeah, it was very manageable for nutrition planning and everything just to go. You knew what your longer sections were and everything else, but then yeah, I was like, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't need that much water right now or anything. And y'all's aid stations, which y'all did have, were great. One of the better ones I've had. I mean, the warm, the hash browns, it was right there. They were
Oh my
fresh. Everything
God, I ate
else,
so many hash browns.
yeah, the hash browns, the egg, and one of the ones had the last aid station had breakfast tacos, egg and cheese or egg and potato or something
Good.
like that. That was a hit. That was a big hit. I mean, I know everybody. I've been to races where they've had hot food and really good warm food, but it seemed like this one, your guys, it was like just made. So it's, I had that small race appeal there. Where they were just making. They could see you from a mile out, make it for you, and have it ready for you and everything else. And they were awesome with it and everything. I mean, for as small as this race is for you and your family and stuff like that, basically running it, they were just amazing being out there. I mean, the support
Yeah,
they
I
gave was
mean,
awesome.
like you
Was
said, like
really
A
really
Station
good.
1 is her parents, A Station 2 is my parents. A Station 3 was Daniel from East Coast Adventures, which they put on races in the east side of Tennessee, and then some other people from like, okay, good,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we saw the Mamba and stuff. I saw their Mamba jackets, and I was talking to them a lot. Like they knew what they were doing, so it was really cool to go in there. They actually knew
Hmm.
what they were doing. They're guiding us and telling us all about. But case in point, I come in on lap 2. It's dark. I come in way ahead of Stephanie because I'm hiking it out, and I'm asking like, "What's the cutoff?" Because she just put that in my head, and he's like, "Oh, you don't have to be here till like 9 tomorrow morning." And I'm like, "Yeah, plenty of time." And I'm kind of doing math in my head, and he's like, "You got like 19 hours." I'm like, "Can you please tell her that behind me?" Because I've been telling her the whole time, and she's not listening to me. Hence, that's why she's calling everybody. So please tell her that we're fine. And that's when she learned that she did bad math and kind of helped us better the next. Because yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
I
they were great. They
apologized
were
in
great.
front of them. I apologized in front of them. I
Oh,
was
I
like,
know, it was funny. Her face just went from like freaked out to, oh yeah, okay, all right,
must have.
and just smile. It was just like, ah.
Okay, so let's tell everybody the potato story.
The
So
potatoes you wouldn't eat.
Chuck felt that anytime I had a bad attitude, I needed to eat. I was eating well, but he didn't believe me.
So the first aid station they had the boiled potatoes, or no, the first loop, Gilbert, I think they had boiled potatoes or whatever like that, and I like potatoes actually because I was pacing Lindsay. the first time, her first race, and one of the aid stations had like potatoes or pancakes, and I took a little baggie, and it was like every time she would start to whine, I just kind of give her a potato or
Is
give
this
her
where
a
you got it from?
pancake.
From
Yes, because it
Lindsay?
helped keep her. Yeah, because it helped. Lindsay was it was her first hunter, and it was grassland, so it was struggling mud. You talk about mud. This was soul sucking mud. So everybody they had a lot of DNFs. So we're just slogging through this
She was the
like
only
ankle.
female finisher.
Yeah, we're just slogging through it. Basically, we did a 30. I think the cutoff was 30 hours or 32 hours, and we took up all the way up to the very end. I mean, it was a massive, massive rain out and mud everywhere. So I was doing the whole 30, tasting her 30 miles and just feeding her just little bits. I kept taking me. So I get to the aid station at Gilbert, and I get the potatoes. I'm like, can you give me a little baggie of potatoes? And I took I don't know a handful. So Stephanie got some. We're going down the trail. I mean, I gave her a little bit then, and then we're going down the trail. And every time she would start to complain or something, I just pull a little baggie out and like I'd give her a potato, and
And
that worked for like 2 or 3 miles. But then later on in the race, she was eating her other stuff. So every time she would
see,
start to
like for
complain again,
12 hours, we're talking
I'd
like,
pull
or
the
50
bag out and
miles,
say,
like
"Do
the
you want a
entire rest of the
potato?"
race, he's like, do you want any potatoes? And I was like, if I could text right now, I would text your wife that I'm going to fucking punch you in the face if you ask me for any more potatoes.
So that was the thing.
But,
After a while,
but
I
I
was like,
can't
"Yeah, just give her a
text.
potato. Just keep her simple. Just keep her quiet. Throw some food
Yeah,
in
what?
there."
And then Laura texts me the day after, and she's like, "Hey, we made some potatoes. Do you want them?" No, I don't want any potatoes. And then my mom was like, "What do you want for Thanksgiving?" And I was like, "I want some vegetables." And she goes, "Well, we have potatoes." And I was like, "I fucking hate." Like, I love potatoes. They're good. It was just that he was like saying, "You have a bad attitude. You have a bad attitude."
It was just it's a reaction I do for my wife. She gets hangry, so we have a Snickers bar around or whatever it is, and yeah, I'm used to carrying food for my wife, so it worked for her, works
I
for
had
somebody
so much
else.
food. I ate all my food.
So yeah, but so anyway, that's where that comes from. But it was great that that was offered for that and everything. So
Okay, so then let's talk about Mo. So Mo
Right.
hurt his back. He was supposed to do the 100 miler. He
well, maybe
stepped down.
Scott should say something about it because
Yeah.
he's the one that saw more than we did.
Okay, so yeah, tell us like how this happened. Did he
Yeah,
just text
so
you randomly or
okay, he emailed me. So leading into the race, like I get quite a few emails, and I don't remember all the details all the time, but he emailed and he was like, "Hey, I can't do the race. Can I drop out and get a refund and all that?" It's like, "Yeah, let's do that." And then maybe Wednesday or Thursday, he contacted me again. He's like, "Hey, if I volunteer, can I stay in the bunkhouse for free?" I was like, "Sure. Like, I'll figure out something for you to do." Yeah, yeah.
which is $10.
That's why I was like, I'll find something worth $10, I'm sure.
Sure, I'll come get
So um, on
it.
Friday, I'm going out and I'm flagging a section, and I discover like a very small blowdown, but it's like a mile into the trail. And I still have to leaf blow that section too. I can't carry all this up at once. So I text him. I'm like, hey, sherpa my chainsaw with me while I blow this section. I'll chop the tree, and then you just carry the chainsaw for me because I can't carry both things. And I had just completely forgotten it was like a back issue. So he gets there, he puts on I have like a builder packs, which means it carries a chainsaw perfectly fine. Like
Oh,
it's very, very
that's
comfortable.
right.
But it was when he put on the backpack, I was like, remind me why you had to cancel. I was like, oh, I have a back injury. It's like, oh, fuck. But he said it was fine, and he did it, and we get that loop done. It was right. It was the one after you come up and you pass by that old house, and you do that kind of like little loop right before you get to the nature center. Uh, so we did that together.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Through the little
school, like it was a school like
yeah.
200 years ago or whatever it was. That old like cabin looking thing.
Okay.
And then once the race gets going, he went down to the first aid station and just like just directing people over there. Then he comes to the start finish line. He's like, what can I do? And it's like, well, help out with food. So he ended up being at the start finish line for pretty much most of the race. I think he stopped by the other aid stations like maybe once or twice, but it's just such an easy place to crew your friends. Yeah,
And he was happy.
Yeah, he was ecstatic helping you
exactly. Yeah,
and stuff. It gave him something to do, and he was all about just yeah.
yeah. Like
What
I
can
said
I do? What
earlier,
can I
it's
do?
like
Jumping in and
it
everything
truly
else. It
is
was
like
really
fun like
cool.
volunteering at races and like getting to be there and like especially at the start finish where we have the full kitchen. Like you get to
Uh-huh.
do a lot there if you want to. Like you like with the cooking
Uh-huh.
and all that kind of stuff. So like there was definitely always something to do. and he was there until maybe midnight. And he went and slept for a few hours, and then came back out when he woke up and stayed there until the end. Yeah, he got his money's worth.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Yeah.
had a blast. Like when we right, he got his $10 worth. When we showed up on Friday, he goes, "I'm gonna text him and see if he needs me." And I'm like, "What would he need you on that day?" So before you had text him, he was already prepared to like put in the work. It was nice to be able to like. I know we didn't physically do that work,
Yeah,
but like bringing someone to a race to like
I
help.
mean it was cool. It was very
Um,
appreciated for sure. Like I didn't
Yeah.
like
yeah,
Yeah.
honestly
It
like
just
when he first contacted me, I didn't know what I would have him do, but it was like you said, it's like $10. So it was like if I have him do nothing, it doesn't really matter. It's like someone needs a bed, whatever. So it just ended up that him being at start finish worked out really well.
yeah. Yeah. He was definitely willing to. He was excited about it when we were talking to him the day before. When he after well no when he went out after he went out with you, he came back and we had dinner back to the lodge, and he was talking about it and excited about helping and everything else. I ended up waking him up when I came in on the second loop. I came in, I had to get up my bed bunk. He was right beside me. And I'm rummaging through shit. And he just like, I think I scared him because he's like, "Whoa, what's going on?" I'm like, "Sorry, sorry, get something."
and he
But
Yeah.
also drove Lisa. So that's
yeah,
the thing too is like Peg, I understand she ran a 50K and that was probably what she thinks the highlight of her trip was. But our highlight was getting to like right up there with her and back. Like she
yeah,
stayed at the lodge and so she was able to get like a full night's sleep and then come back, and when we were ready to go, she was like, "Okay, let's go." Um
yeah. She
which
drove most the way back outside of out Texarkana. I think I took over, but she drove what is it, 13 hour to 13. So she drove like 9 to 10 hours both ways. I mean, even going up there, she drove that much. So yeah, but it was. But I think Paige enjoyed herself a lot too. I mean, I think that might have been more of the highlight. I mean, I know she likes to race and that stuff, but she's one of the girls too. Like going back to when you talk about the volunteering, is that it's just kind of her way to do it too. Is volunteer and stuff, be part of the community and everything else.
she was taking care of us. And
Yeah.
then while we were out there still running, she took all the ladies and they went and like had drinks and
Oh,
ate dinner at the lodge. All the 50K ladies got to
that's
go
good. I
like
mean
have
they
their
went out there
own
together.
fun.
You guys know about the
Yeah.
headlamp?
Come back to you. Yeah.
Yes.
No. Yeah. We heard about that.
So the two Marias, and I didn't know this. I don't know if you know this, Scott, but one of those ladies, one of the Marias,
Oh, good.
that was her first 50K. She finished her first 50K and then went back to
Nice.
get Peg to give her a headlamp. But see, okay, so that's the best part about having like a whole community going out there. So when I travel by myself, it's like if I, first of all, I don't like to land in the dark because you're going to have to navigate. Like I always want to go check out the race in the light, even though I'll have to drive in the dark the next morning. And so when they pulled in, they parked on the side of the Bunks Lodge, whatever that area is called, and we met them at their car and like helped them unload everything, helped them with packet pickup, like um so that they didn't have to stress about all of that. So they felt taken care of, and then in turn they took care of her, and then Peg took care of us by driving. And so it's nice when someone's already there that's telling you, "Hey, this is the way to the dorms. This is the way to packet pickup. This is where we're going." Um so that's the fun part about traveling with people versus
Yeah,
being
right.
on your own on how to navigate everything. And the views. So we need to talk about that. The views between the bridges. There were so many bridges. Um and the waterfalls that like, so there was a guy that was going to propose. His name is Michael.
Oh
He fin
yeah,
he finished 100K. I already looked up his results. He was going to propose to his
Amanda.
girlfriend. Do you know if he did? He maybe
I
He
didn't
didn't
said
see
at the
that.
propose to
finish
her.
line he was going to
Unless
do
it was
it.
while I was asleep. I don't think
So,
it
Did you?
was.
okay, wait.
Oh.
So Peg said that she saw there was a proposal at the lodge. So I think
Okay.
they went back to the
Yeah,
lodge and
because
that's
if
where
it
he
would have happened at the
proposed.
finish line, I would have heard
Okay.
about it for sure.
But we were rooting for. Yeah, so there was somebody that,
That's cool.
did your race and
Yeah, you
then
can actually on our
proposed
Instagram if
to
you
his girlfriend.
go back to like actually not very far because we barely use it. You can actually see someone proposing at the finish line of a Fall Creek maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and we just like Emily just happened to be have her phone out and like
Oh,
turned around and
cool.
caught it. It was pretty cool. Yeah, yeah, and that guy actually has the course
Oh,
record for the
seriously?
50K at Long Hunter now too.
Wow.
See, so
Wow.
that's the level of like how nice we don't have state parks that are this nice. That people propose at the state park. And there was like wedding pictures when we
Hmm.
went down to go see the waterfall, um, and
There's
Chuck
two
was
weddings at
getting
the
all
lodge too. So the wedding itself, I think the lodge itself have two
Yeah,
weddings this
yeah.
weekend.
It's as
I
far
think
as
they were
Tennessee
scheduled.
is
Yeah.
concerned, it's like one of the
So yeah, it's
maybe the second or first, probably not first, but it's probably I think the second most visited park in Tennessee. Um, like obviously you can tell they get funding. They have
really
really good infrastructure. That bridge probably costs like $2 million, one that you guys are on. Oh, they're way
you
more
think
expensive
so?
than you think they are. Like way more expensive. There's a bridge that's been out in that park for years.
Well,
Say
because
that again?
the engineering behind it. I said because the engineering behind it, because
I
it
guess
has
so.
to
Yeah,
like
that and
have
like
a little give.
they like that bridge went down in August of 2023, and like I told you guys before the race started, like I genuinely believe you're the first people to ever use it. So it's taken them 2.5 years even to get it done.
which that's not the gorge one.
Yeah, I'm
That's the
talking
other
about the
one,
very
right? Which
first one
that's
that
the
went
one
out like
after.
3 or 2 or whatever maybe. That one took 2.5 years to complete.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Right. Right. You come in, then right after you get out of the mud, you go through this little squiggly area. It's and then okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So that was part of the
yeah. So
damage
like
of
a
all the
really cool
trees, the
thing
big storm you
about,
were telling me about.
I mean, it's
Or
cool.
damage.
I know people don't like road sections, but that 2 mile road section that we do on your right hand side, you're gonna get like glimpses over into the gorge like over and over and over again, which is really cool. I
Oh, that was absolutely
I
yeah.
hope it's worth it. Yeah,
We saw that,
They
and
had
then
little
even the next
spots
exactly,
that you
morning,
would
exactly. I mean, it's
stop for
called the scenic loop,
sightseeing.
like driving.
yeah.
People literally come to the park just to drive that road.
Uh
But
huh.
on your left hand side, you do get a taste of what that park went through. Like if you can remember these stacks of trees in certain sections of that, like that's what
Oh
like a
yeah.
lot of that park looked like. It was undrivable. The power was out. The trails are obviously down. They had they used satellite imagery and they said between 1,500 and 1,600 trees were down is their best estimate. So there
Wow.
used to be a trail instead of that road. I truly don't think it's ever going to come back because like the amount of manpower it would take to open up like such a like small like recreational trail versus all the other things in the park. I don't think it's ever going to happen. We're probably always going to be on that road, that scenic loop. But I hope it like the views make up for it for the people that just like hate having pavement in a place.
I liked the variety because it was like, okay, I know that I'm not going to move very fast, but then when we like switch this,
Yeah,
like it's going to be okay.
Yeah, the first loop was for me. The first loop was like exploratory, kind of like I noticed the falls right away. They're beautiful. I noticed the gorge you were talking about on the road right away is beautiful. So that's kind of exploratory. And then there's a couple sections I didn't like the one after the pines. You cross the bridge when then you're in the forest and you just kind of kicking trees. I mean, kicking leaves around and everything. I didn't blow that part, and that's where you get to the straightaway
But that's where we
before the
met
camp.
Michael and got to hear his story about how he's planning to propose.
Yes, that's true. But still,
Every
as far
time I
as
ran through there, I was like, I hope Michael proposes.
you know, so that was like my least favorite part. And then obviously at night you really can't see anything. But the next morning we hit a lot of it because we came out. So I got to see a lot of stuff in a different light in the morning. That one part I
yeah.
hated, the Gilbert Cross, I thought was beautiful. I mean, once I actually got to see it with a different mindset instead of like just okay, where am I at? Where's the loop? It was actually really pretty going down by those camps. I mean, that's a really really beautiful park that I saw all sorts of. I saw parts of Tulsa, or I mean, sorry, parts of Oklahoma in there, parts of Arkansas in that park, and everything else. These other races I've done, I was like, it's really really a nice park, and the trails are absolutely beautiful. For that to happen 2 years
Yeah,
ago,
they've done pretty good
they were
work.
in great
There's
shape.
still a couple sections that I hope
Yeah.
someday get reopened so I can kind of modify the course a little bit more to make it perfect. But like the course is designed to get you guys to see like as much as possible in that park, like all the bridges, all the waterfalls, like all the overlooks, like anything I can get you to and still have the course make sense because like I could probably squeeze in like a couple more things, but it'd become like really convoluted and like kind of confusing, which nobody wants at like mile 70 or 80 or 90, right?
Right.
So like getting this like shaped the way I
Right.
like it so far, it's really good. And there's like only like a couple little things I would like to squeeze in. I just don't know if it would ever logistically work or like make sense or be like worth the possible confusion. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I noticed a couple years ago I was looking at older GPX, and I don't think we did the out and back or something on is coming out. We had that little extra nine, a
Right. So
little
there
extra. I didn't
yeah, we used
see
to
that
go
on the
all the way to the
GPX.
top of that road.
Did y'all change it or just
That
have
road
that?
wasn't an out and back before. We used to have a trail that goes all the way to the top of that road and comes back down, but that trail just doesn't exist right now.
Oh,
Yeah, and then going out the other side of that trail,
oh, okay.
that's what I really want. I hope they open. But like I've gone out there myself and just looked at it. It's until you've seen like real like tornado damage in a forest before, it's hard to imagine like if you think of just pickup sticks and every stick has like 25 sticks on it. It's unmanageable. Like it's they were saying it was taking them like an entire day of two or three people to get like zero point 0.1 mile in certain sections. It's crazy.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I did 3 days of solo mode earlier this year in March, and we were staying at 56. We were staying in some hunting cabins up the mountain, and did the 50K, and then a storm came through, and the tornado took out the town, and then we ended up having to cancel. It canceled 3 days after the 50K. So we had that Friday. So Saturday morning, we had no power. The city was decimated. The trail was decimated. RD was in a cabin that almost got blew off a cliff, along with one of our other friends. Yeah, it's just, and you're right, because so we're in the cabin, we didn't die, but we had no power, so we were trying to figure out what we're going to do. When it turned daylight, we drove out to see what we could do, get breakfast, whatever, and then see um, what was going on, like what happened, because we knew something was going on and happened. I didn't really realize the tornado came through and how close it was until I drove through that. And you're right, with looking back, like you said, the whole side of the whole mountain's just like you said, pickup sticks. I guess is the biggest thing. So I can't imagine what all that stuff was back there, but it's
Yeah,
beautiful
they've
now.
done
It's
good
come
work on
good.
it.
Hopefully,
And
it makes
yeah,
a
the
good
course
comeback.
like I love the course we have now. I think I've heard a lot of positive. I get scared of the road sections just because I know how like purist some people can be, but I've heard a lot of really positive things. Like you guys saying like the views are worth it and the variety makes it good. I'm glad to hear that because I just get scared that people are gonna be unhappy with the road.
No,
You're
yeah,
always
I've
going to
been on
have
other
somebody.
courses where the roads are just boring, boring, boring. This is definitely, you know, obviously at night it's going to suck because you can't see anything at all. But during the daytime, and then just the different times. We started in the morning, and then the evening when we came in, or afternoon, to get to see the other sides. It was really, really a beautiful course.
So, but one of my favorite things is to run courses that RDs created because they have a purpose. Like if someone's doing a loop
Hmm.
that puts like specific places. So knowing that you created this loop, I always say it's like I'm getting to celebrate their craft, to celebrate their art. Like when I read someone's book and an author has invested so much like research and time into it, it's like, so we got to go run and celebrate like your mind creating this like variety of course. I loved the variety because it was like, it was never like, hey, we're going to have 10 miles of really hard, like dreadful trail. It was like, well, you're going to have 2.5 miles and then it's going to go downhill. And then
Yeah, yeah, I love
I
hearing
loved it.
it. It does mean
Absolutely
a lot.
loved it.
All right, it can maybe sound like self-serving or vain, but like yeah, I do put like a lot of thought into the courses and hearing people like appreciate that like it does mean a lot and I hope it comes across that I care because I've done courses myself where I've been like I feel like the guy just didn't really like try, you know what I mean? So I hope it shows
Yeah.
that I do care.
Yes. Yes, for sure.
So how many? What was your first course you set up? Like, what
The
was the
spring
first
race.
race you set up? That's at that other park, right? Okay,
It's
and
in the
where that's
forest.
at
It's
that
outside
other park,
Chattanooga,
right? You
so
said.
like it's about an hour and a half to an hour like south of Fall Creek Fall State Park.
Yeah.
So like the story is that like over COVID, so I do like corporate events has been where I've been for a long time. So COVID hits and like our entire industry is just dead, right? So I have a lot of free time, and I go online and I start finding every trail I can find just to explore because I have time to explore. And I go out and right outside of Chattanooga is a town called Sewanee, and they have a pretty famous 20-mile loop there called the Perimeter Trail. Like everyone in like the Middle Tennessee area, they all know about this trail. Everyone's gone out and run this trail. Um, but some app somewhere had like a small like hint of another trail south of there by 7 miles. So I drive out there, I check it out, and I discover like a 25-mile loop just south of the perimeter trail. I'm like, this is crazy that I've never heard of it. No one has ever told me about it. I can't find like much evidence of it online. There's no Strava segments. Like there's like no one seems to go out here. I run it. There's waterfalls, there's
Hmm.
overlooks. It's beautiful. And like, okay, this is great. I have a lot of free time. Let's start putting on races. So I go out there, and for people who don't know, like forests and parks are managed like pretty differently. Like parks are recreationally based, forests are like timber and wildlife. So the people in charge of the forests, it's cool that they're very hands off, but it also means they don't do anything. So if you want there to be a trail there, you got to go out and make it
Right.
yourself. So for like the last 5 years, like I've been pretty much the only person who maintains that whole trail system. But like having it like be my baby and like designing it the way I want and like finding all the best ways to do it has been really fun. And like getting that like kind of in my system is what led me to do Long Hunter, which is like actually really close to my house. Like I run to it from my house pretty often. And then Fall Creek Falls, there's like a couple of races that do exist already in this park, but like if you compare like what they
Hmm.
do in the park makes no sense to me because they don't hit any of the overlooks, they don't hit any of the waterfalls. I don't know why you would do that. I don't know why you would design a course that doesn't like do all the highlights. So then I came in, and I made my race as far away from the other races as I could in the year, so it wouldn't be like rude. And then, I designed it the way I did, and I'm really proud of it. Like all my courses,
Right.
like I care a lot about. I've scoured out a bunch of other trails, back in 2020, 2021. And there were a bunch of races I thought I was going to have based on looking at them online. And then I get out there and I run it, and I'm like, I don't know if it's worth. That's not good enough. And so I just never put on the other ones. But the ones I do have are all ones like I really believe in.
Cool. Yeah, it's a yeah. If it's anything like any of the views are like what we just
Yeah,
rode,
I love
love to
running.
come
Like
back and do
I
the
said,
other
Rim
ones.
Runner is
They're beautiful.
because like I maintain the trail. Like it's in my heart. I love Fall Creek 100 obviously, but like Rim Runner is the one I put the most work into, and I just think it's so cool. Yeah,
The
exactly.
most
Because
work
like
all year
in Middle
round
Tennessee, we have the
versus
Cumberland Plateau, which is like this area, and you saw it a little bit, a couple of spots in Fall Creek. Uh, that little vine with the thorns on it, not the sharp leaf ones, but like the little vine that has little thorns on it. Those are,
Yes. Yeah.
I have a
yeah.
battle
I can
wound
look at
right
I can
here
look at people's calves. I know who found them
on
and
my
who didn't.
face.
Um, but those are all over like the Cumberland Plateau. I don't know what it is about it, but when you're on like those ridges and those rims, like it just grows like wildfire there, or it grows like it spreads like wildfire there. So that has to get trimmed back like a couple of times a year just to make it usable for people who want to go hiking or running or cycling, like mountain biking out there. So that's a year-round project. And then no one takes care of the blowdowns besides me. Um, I'm trying to get Sorba involved, which is like the mountain biking people around here, because they're just better at it than I am. I can't buck.
Hmm.
I can chop a lot, but I'm just not a sawyer. So they have skills that I just don't have. Um, but yeah, like I really really recommend Rim Runner. You can look at the website. It's got some really cool pictures that give a good taste of what it's got.
Cool. You think you'll end up opening more races out there? Or is that are you kind of? I know you're kind of limit with even Fall Creek. What we saw, how limited you are. Go back to needing
Well, the
volunteers
deal with this area
or
is
help.
that
But
we don't have a ton of public land. Like before I came around, John Harden with Hardwin Adventures, like he was putting on almost all the ultras and trail races in the Nashville, Middle Tennessee area. Like Chattanooga has their group, has their people. Like Nashville has their people, and their people was literally only John. And his races were almost like half on private property because we don't have like large national forests until you get way out east by the border. So there just isn't a trail to
Hmm.
put on more races. It's
Yeah.
really limited. Like the most famous race in our area is
Yeah.
like no business. That takes like five different governing bodies to put together a 100-mile course in two states. And that's the only one you can get, the only trail system you can access in our entire area that would even have that much trail to use. So like if there was more opportunity and there was more good trail, I would. But I just as of right now, there's nothing that's like inspired me enough to really like want to put in that work.
Yeah.
I love that though, because that means like what you put forth, you were passionate about. Like,
Hmm. You can see that. Yeah, you can see that in the race and the course. Yeah, definitely.
and I did not get a lot of pictures, but the ladies that we came with got some really good
Oh, please
pictures
tag
and
me.
reels and
I'm so
like,
bad at social media. Please tag
so
us
there are
and
pictures of it.
uh,
I will. I'll
okay,
go.
thank you.
I'm gonna write myself a note so I don't
That's like the
forget.
one thing I know I need to really, really improve on.
Okay, so
It is. It's
That can be a
probably worth
job in
doing
itself,
someday,
though,
to be
too.
honest, but I just never get around to that either.
Yeah.
so we usually wrap this up with something that you can't let go. So something that's on your mind, running related, not running related. Um, I'm gonna go first, and um, so what's on my mind is Silamo is next, and Spirit of Silamo, and they released the GPX file yesterday, and it's got
Oh wow.
almost 19,000 feet of vert. So I'm a little stressed. And it's technical. So it's going to be like more technical than Tennessee. Don't you agree, Chuck? It is going to be more technical than Tennessee.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, um, but I feel better. Like I feel like I'm out of that fog that I was in. And so I just know I can't go back in fighting two wolves. So I'm going to get my head straight. I'm going to have pacers, which we had pacers on this one. Chuck and I have talked a lot about strategy and like what we're gonna do to finish this next one. So that's what's on my mind is just like getting that straight. Okay, Chuck, what do you have?
I'm probably just gonna jump on that too. I mean, since we talked since over the weekend, it's like, and then the difficulty with Fall Creek I had, as much as I had, I was like, well, yeah, it put my mind. Am I ready? I mean, I know I've been undertrained coming into this race. I just had life get a hold of me and stuff, and then laziness a little bit, like I said, the rest of my laurels. But so now going into Silamo, I'm just like, well, it is what it is. I mean, goals are just kind of like just finish this one because I did DNF last year, so just kind of figuring out if I can
You
do it
got
and
pulled,
when I can do it. So
but you weren't running your own race,
yeah,
and
but
you
still,
missed a cutoff. I'm gonna have the
yeah,
GPX file downloaded.
yeah,
I'm not
I got
missing.
one. So, but that's it. I mean, I'm just kind of more worried about that, and then looking to next year. Like, and I know we all get through it, but during the race, Michelle was with Stephanie. They were kind of in the back. I was out front, and my brain was going back to where it usually like with Stephanie. Can I do this? Can I not? You know, I was throwing. I was about to come home and cancel most of my races for next year, everything else, and then you know, a couple miles down the road, I get some food in me, and the sun comes up, and it's like, oh, this is fun again. So, yeah, Silamo definitely got in my head a little bit and everything. So it's just,
Hey, I did have a positive once the sun set, because I was like, he can't fucking make me go faster now. That's what I was thinking. He won't be able to see me.
yeah, she was.
Um,
Yeah, you were always every time something changed, you already had a good, got in a good mood outside again,
I was like, we're
which
starting
is
the second
good.
part of the race. It's the
Yes,
sunset at 4:30 p.m.
and the
I can't tell
sunrise.
you how many
Here's
times my mom told me that she's like, you can't quit Silmo right now. We're not talking about this today. Like, wait till you get home. Like, finish this race. Do not be thinking about the next race. Like, think about just this one.
Good.
Because I talked to her a few times.
yes.
Okay, Scott, what's on your mind? What's something
Emily
you
and I are
can't
supposed to
let
get
go?
married next year, and uh, there's a little piece
Oh
of me
wow.
that wonders if I'll have enough money to go race somewhere else. If everything's going to be spent on that. She is
Maybe you could do a
over.
honeymoon race.
We have to specifically not race. Yeah.
Chuck, shut your mouth. Get Laura in here. She's going to disagree with that. I cannot believe you even said that. I'm
Yeah,
texting her that
I
you
think
said
spouses
that.
of runners are
I
eventually
think
reach
it's yeah.
their breaking point of having to do a race at every single trip.
Yeah, no, because Laura's same thing. I had to cancel. My niece got accepted to program in Italy, and Laura's like, Charlotte got to Italy, so I'm going to Italy next year. And I'm like, crap, there goes my race. Wait a minute, because I was just trying to now I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm just like, well, there goes one of my races
Exactly.
now. So now I have
Yeah.
to figure out what's in Italy. What can you do? So yeah, there's a running joke with that too. That's
Yeah,
But you got to keep the spouse happy.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So congratulations, that's cool. Was it a finish line proposal?
Not for a race. So I went down to New Zealand to the Tarawera, and they have what's
Okay.
called the Great Walks in New Zealand, which is like very famous and I guess significant either hikes or rafting areas and things like this. And they have a 27-mile loop called the Northern Circuit. So what we did is we did the Northern Circuit, which was Emily's first time to ever like go to sleep in a sleeping bag, wake up, go to sleep in a sleeping bag, wake up. Always like double overnight hiking
Oh,
and not just
wow.
like go there and come back to your car. So we did this loop, finish it, and I proposed then
Okay.
to
Yeah.
be like symbolic of us like going on an adventure and doing everything together, new things and all this kind of stuff. So it wasn't a race, but it did involve a trail and a mountain.
But- see?
Oh, I love it. Okay, well, Scott, thank you for coming on and like sharing all the Tennessee races because now it's like people have to go follow it. We'll tag you in I say we.
Okay,
Dylan will tag
thank
you
you.
when he posts this and so that you can share it as well and
Great.
so everyone can see. And then Chuck, thanks for dealing with me for 90 miles.
I loved it. Wouldn't have it any better. And I'll see you next 100.
Yes,
Next in a couple weeks.
We've got less than 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott, thank you very much. It was a great race.
Thank you.
Honestly, it was all. It was
Yes,
one of
for
my favorites,
sure.
so thank you so much.
Okay, happy endings. Mo knows.
That was one of my favorites.